Alright, hello. So we're going to be doing a Lorien video. I know I just put one out where I recently did a strike Lorien using effective range to boost up the potency of shurikens, along with some shuriken projectile, extra strike projectiles in area, etc. But this time we're doing a summon Lorien. That's why things look a little bit strange here, and we have nothing in this middle section, or this lower section, I should say, because not much in here actually affects summons. But what does affect summons and the way that we're going to utilize it is very, very, very good. So we have a bit of dodge chance up here. This is just to give us some survivability because we need to put points somewhere to get down to here. Then we have tutelage so we can level up our 2 summon blessings that we're going to be playing around. Some dice, so that way we have better god control. Some attack speed, and I'll talk about why that's important later. And some pull area to help us collect shards. We have got movement speed so we can get around faster, some dash recharge speed so we can be a bit safer, 1 point into ranger's mark so we can mark enemies when we hit them, or have a chance to I should say, which will then make them take 30% more damage. This includes damage from your summons, and like us hitting them, marking them, will then include summons in turn of increasing their damage by 30%. But also when we hit those marked enemies, there's a chance to become immobilized, which helps our summons catch trickier enemies such as the carpet bombers. We have 1 pierce over here. This is again just so we can expand down the tree. We could have technically just thrown this somewhere like here for a little bit extra chance, but I like the idea of having a little bit extra pierce just because we're going to be taking enchanted arrows, which will turn pierces into bounces, which just gives us more opportunities to roll for Flash of Inspiration. Your attack hits have a chance to trigger a random cast. Now, this is why attack speed is important. We're going to be attacking so frequently and hitting so frequently that we're going to try to trigger this as often as possible, including the fact that we have random arrows, so we have 65% attack speed coming from our tree. So, because we're trying to proc this as frequently as possible, this means when we take Summoner, the Summon Blessing, that scales your summon damage over time. Since it's a cast, we'll have a good chance of proccing it for extra ticks of summon damage gain. Since nothing else here really helps, we could have took Flex here to have our summons have a chance to crit. They can crit, they just don't display the crit animation like we usually get, where we get that splash of color come up when we crit. That doesn't happen, but you can physically see the number get much, much larger when a summon does crit. But instead of doing that, we are going to go with Flash Inspiration so we can get that extra summon damage scaling. Yeah, we are literally running summon damage and a little bit of summon attack speed here. We are running summon movement speed. We are running summon damage, summon attack speed, and summon duration. Summon duration, attack speed, so we can try and proc Flash of Inspiration like I mentioned. You can see here we have a 0.16 attack time to begin, a bunch of dice, summon damage and duration with some dice and experience gain, and a lot of summon damage. It's like this for a very specific reason, and that's so our stats can look like this. Because the 2 summons we are going to be building around, since we are using a +1 summon slot belt, so we can have our additional summon slot here, so we have 2, is going to be Necromancy and Blood Swords. Both of these summons are the 2 best summons in the game when it comes to DPS, and since we're going to be trying to play around them, they work in tandem with each other. And what I mean by this, we're taking Gemini. What I mean by this is, as we're hitting stuff, we are going to be trying to trigger Summoner, but also because we are hitting stuff, we're going to be summoning Blood Swords. As we are summoning those Blood Swords, that we're also going to be killing things, which will then be summoning Necromancy. And it's going to work in a nice little gameplay loop like that. So we have our Warped Attack right now, so you can see here it says we gain projectile bounce +3 and attack projectile bounce +3. This is actually a wording error. That projectile bounce +3 that you see underneath the attack projectile bounce +3 is actually meant to be projectile pierce +3, but since we're running the talent anyway, it doesn't matter that it's a wording error, because it's going to go all into our bounce. And then, because we have all this going on and we have a bunch of extra bounces and stuff now, we're going to be sitting pretty. We're going to have a nice time with proccing our... Ooh, please. Okay, cool. We might not get Necromancy. Oh, why? Why would you only show up as a novice? I refuse. Give us better than novice. Hey, there we go. So, if we look at this now, you can see Blood Swords at Masters. It has very good movement speed scaling. Like, very good movement speed scaling. A decent duration. It's 20 seconds. It does scale pretty well as well. But the summon attack time is unaffected by the summon attack speed. And what I mean by this is, if I were to remove... If I were to remove these gloves, you can see it's still 0.62, and then if I re-equip them, it's still 0.62. They are unaffected by the attack speed, and just to show that it is actually altering the stats, you can see the damage range is changing as I'm equipping and de-equipping them. It's just unaffected by summon attack time, unfortunately, so summon attack speed has no effect, but the movement speed scaling is amazing, the duration scaling is fantastic, the damage range is so good. So although they don't get the summon attack, the necromancy will if we manage to land on it. We don't have many dice left, unfortunately. If not, we're just going to be playing around bloodswords. But the duration is going to help. And then it's procced on attack. We need to hit 7 times to summon 1 sword. This is going to get significantly lower as we level it. It'll go all the way down to 3 hits eventually, which means we're going to have lots of swords. Now, that being said, there seems to be a hidden cap on how many swords you can have active at once. I'm not sure what the exact number is. It's hard to count. Please? Okay, we might be a little bit doomed on the necromancy front, which is unfortunate because that means we also lose out on influence, but we're not doomed on getting summoner, so half the build is still here. Okay, yeah, we're doomed on that front, so we'll just run bloodswords. That's fine. It's fine. I'm not crying. You are. But because it doesn't get summon attack speed scaling, their DPS potential is lower than necromancy's, but they can still do big work. Right, since we're here, we're going to banish out these, roll once, banish out these, roll again, hope. Okay, we only got adept. We want force because obviously we need to be able to catch our gems that we're now shooting everywhere. But now that we've got lots of attack projectiles, if we look here at summoner, you can see it's at 6%, and then we'll look again in a minute's time where it's meant to have 1 natural occurrence, and we'll see how many times it's actually occurred since then. But we need to try and power level up our blood swords on Warpact as fast as possible, but since we don't have influence, our summon damage won't get to the crazy numbers, but it will still get pretty high. Ooh, nice. It will still get pretty darn high, thanks to the way this works. I know I've just did a summon video. I haven't uploaded it as we speak, but as this video comes out and has gone live, it would already be out. So the video that comes out just before this one will be the Wanderer Skadi on Act 1 D100 summon video, which is another very good way to play a Skadi who will take Master Blessing damage. It's another good way to play a summon Skadi, and it's my favorite and probably the most consistent summon build for Skadi in my honest opinion. Blood Swords levels, as you can see here, as we level Blood Swords, the attacks get lower, the movement speed gets higher, and the damage range gets much, much higher. So it's just a very, very, very good blessing. Everything about it is very, very good when you're leveling. And the numbers will start to get crazy. So now it's been a minute in 2-1. It's been a minute. Now let's check how many times Summoner has proc. 26%. That is far more than just 1 extra proc. So yeah, that's why we want all the projectiles. That's why we have all the attack speed. And that's how good Flash Inspiration is when it comes to triggering stuff. It's a lot like Dash Cast Maris, apart from you're hitting much more frequently. So we'll take Force. So something to consider when it comes to stuff like Dash Cast Maris and Dash and Flash of Inspiration. It doesn't matter how much cooldown reduction you get. You could have 10,000% cooldown reduction. You are not going to have Flash of Inspiration trigger more times. The way that it actually works is based on its base cooldown. So this being a 60-second cooldown cast means it's a lot less likely to trigger than, say, taking something like Lightning Orbs and having that constantly trigger on every hit. Even if it's your only cast, it still has to roll this diminished value. But adding all these extra projectiles just gives us more opportunities for one of those rolls to succeed. So we just get more procs that way. That's why we wanted Gemini, and that's why I wanted the extra bounces. We're going to be scaling up a lot of summon damage this way. So if we actually look at our summon damage, it's now 400%, and we started the run with around 220. Which is pretty crazy. You can see the swords as well. We're starting to get an army of them. Now, they're not, on the damage screen at the end, they're not going to look too crazy. Because of the fact, obviously, they actually have to get to the target and hit them before we do. For the target to, like, for their DPS to count. Or, sorry, they actually have to get to the target and hit them before we kill the target. So on a lot of these basic skeletons where we're just shooting very, very fast and killing them very, very fast, you're not really going to see blood swords hitting them. So our warped attack is going to look like it's doing much, 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 much more than the blood swords. But they will start to catch up and do a lot of damage once they actually get to connect to the healthy targets, which is going to be like the more problematic enemies like these cats, for example, or the bosses, or these rock guys. So their damage will catch up eventually. It's just because of how many basic skeletons there are, warped attack is going to take care and do a lot more than make it look like blood swords aren't doing as much as they actually are. We have to take into account the hit frequency as well as the actual damage values. We will banish radiance, we will banish light rays. We don't want an extra cast because we don't want to proc anything other than summoner. I don't know how it exactly works. It's hard to definitively say the way it rolls. If it rolls for each cast separately, or if it's going to roll for just proc a cast and then it randomly chooses the cast. It's hard to say. Divine Shield, I think, is a fine one to take, just because if it's active, it can't be triggered. Unless you level up a card, obviously. So I think that won't mess with it too much. We will take War Pact. If it shows up as Master, we'll just take it instantly. Otherwise, we're just going to keep taking Blood Swords every time we can, just to make sure it's level 10 before the boss. We'll just keep moving. So, although it looks like the run's going very smooth and it's very easy right now, there are still some problems that we have to consider. And those problems being things like Elemental Archers. Since Elemental Archers are pretty tanky by the time they show up later on, and I mean like the 19 minutes to 16 minute areas, they have a bit of health. We're not going to be one-shotting them with our attacks like we are with these basic skeletons. So we're at the mercy of our summons to go and find those archers and kill them. So there's chances that we'll just take a bunch of chip damage here or there, which is unfortunate. Luckily, we are going to be going with the Divine Shield route, so we're going to be pretty safe in that regard. We'll have an extra layer of protection there. But we are still not 100% out of the realm of dying. But when it comes to actual boss damage and single target, we should have no issues. And you'll see that in a second. Okay, we're going to banish Bloodlust because I don't want to into the issue of taking Bloodlust and then gimping our attack animations. But now you can see, now that it's level 9, Blood Swords attacks only require 3 hits to summon a sword. So we're going to end up with quite a few swords. Now, you'll see what I mean though when I say I think the cap is around 30. Considering how fast we're attacking and how frequently we're hitting, we're not really seeing that many more swords. Despite the fact that the duration is 20 seconds right now. Once we get Deathlessness as well though, we'll end up having around a minute duration on them. Actually, why is the Deathlessness showing? It should be here. I just thought about that. Does Blood Swords not count towards the... Oh, I guess when they reworked Blood Swords, they never updated the prerequisites for them. I'll have to bring that up with Ren. When I get the opportunity, I'll have to mention it. Because it being a duration-based summon, it should be a prerequisite for Deathlessness. There are a few anomalies like that within the prerequisite tables, like Legong's strikes not counting us towards the strike damage prerequisite for some reason, despite him being the one that gives the strike damage. Then there's Black Serpents that doesn't count towards Mayhem, but I think that's more due to the way that it's coded than anything. We're gonna re-roll. There we go. Just because I don't want to take Blood Swords and then only have War Pact in the pool and just be very unlikely to ever see Crom. So I want to re-roll and grab War Pact right now before that happens, so that way Tutelage can still... Look, he's just dead. So Tutelage can still have a good chance of rolling us into him. This is a very good bow. We're gonna put it down there. That's also a pretty crazy bow. This bow is going to be pretty useful for if we try to do a status Lorien at some point. We'll go this way. Now, I've tried doing this a couple times, but every time I've done this, like we've killed the boss and stuff like that. I've gone in, I've done the next run, and then it's like we just get unlucky. We never see blood swords before the first boss, and it's just like, okay, I'll just restart, etc., etc. But sometimes when I've fully done the run, for some reason blood swords just doesn't show up on the damage at the end. I don't know what goes on with that. So hopefully it doesn't happen this time, because this is one of the better starts we've had to the runs as well. So hopefully it doesn't happen this time. If we look at Summoner, by the way, 122%. We've only just got past the first boss. That's quite a bit scaling. Hopefully it doesn't happen this time, because like I don't want to have to do like the same run so many times in a row. I like keeping things fresh, you know, mixing it up. I have 3,000, almost 3,300 hours, 3,400 hours-ish in this game. If I just did the same build over and over and over again, it would drive me crazy. Hence the reason I'm doing these sort of things now. Alright, now we're going to take the last point of Blood Swords, get that out of the way, and we'll start getting Warpacked. This is the power of tutelage, by the way, especially when you combine it with a ring like this that has level up offers. Like, you have 80% level up offers. If you then banish the stuff you never want to level, it's gonna be good. If only Skadi had something like this. Oh my god, it would be beautiful. Like, usually I try to tell people not to take stuff like level up offers, rarity offers, and new offers on their, as a consideration on their like jewelry and their ring and stuff. It's not a very impactful stat. But when you're trying to streamline builds, and you've got everything else in place, it's a very good stat to take advantage of when you can. Because you can banish stuff out, and then suddenly you can like force yourself to level what you actually want to level. But they don't help you with actually getting stuff like legendaries, and they don't actually help you getting stuff into masters. So it's bad in that regard. So if you're someone who likes getting legendaries, those free stats don't actually help you. Cool. As you can see, each sword is hitting very hard now. Ouch. Cool. Yeah, whatever. I'm actually surprised. Like, I never realized that. I've done this a few times, but obviously I've been taking necromancy with it every time. And I never realized that Blood Sword wasn't triggering deathlessness. Actually shocked me. I like doing necromancy with it because you can see, like, Blood Swords do a lot of damage. They melted the first boss in, like, seconds, like, if that. Like, they can hold their own. They're very, very good. But, you know, if you have necromancy with it, necromancy also does the exact same thing. So you just have more summons killing more things, and it's like, you know, easier times clearing out density as well. All that stuff. Less is good, less is better, but usually, you know, it doesn't take too much to level 2 summon blessings. We'll go power damage for force. Well, we should be relatively safe. I am a little scared for carpet bombers. Oh yeah, I should show this, by the way. So we only have this 36% movement speed. We go to the Loren's talents. The only movement speed talent in here is Strider. It doesn't give us summon movement speed. But if we now look at the Blood Sword's movement speed, 884. These things are rockets. It's incredible. If we manage to get the Alchemist table, and that rolls movement speed as well, these things will be over 1,000 movement speed. It is beautiful. This is why I think Necromancy and Blood Swords are the two best summons, because they have the best movement speed scaling, as well as some of the highest DPS profiles. And they're on gods that are, like, generally pretty good for summon builds. Like, Prom is very good because of Warpacked. Mort is obviously very, very good because of Influence. And then your third god's always going to be Time, because why would you be doing a summon build without Summoner, right? Obviously, at the start of the Act 2 patch, I was doing it without Summoner because there was a lot of bugs, and we were trying to overcome those bugs via utility. So we had to drop damage in favor for it. But now it's like, I don't think you ever want to do a summon build without both Mort and time. It's your sources of summon damage, right? Summon damage is at 1100. If we had Mort as well, this would be around 1300, 1400 because of influence. Influence Master at max level gives 100% summon damage. We'll take Fortune. I like Fortune. It's more hearts, more magnets, more shields. Part of the reason why I think Act 2 is harder than Act 1 is because you don't get immortality shrines. You get stuff like insect ladies and more lethal, like, basic enemies. And elite enemies in comparison. It's the only thing that's really hard in Act 1 is Dracula himself. Iety is Dracula himself. It's definitely, with Pact of Greed active on D100, it's definitely a lot harder than the Djinn. What? Rock dust. Oh, there's an archer. Okay. This is what I mean. The elemental archers, they last a little bit longer, so we're at the mercy of our blood swords finding them and killing them. So we have to try and force them to move in that direction somehow. War Pact. Very good. Dodge the jackals. I honestly, it took me the longest. It actually took someone on the Discord to correct me and say that they're the jackals, by the way, for me to realize that those guys with the scimitars that jump at you are the jackals. I was always confused, like, what those dog gloves would actually help, because I was like, what dogs are there in Death Must Die? Like, I know the cats, but where is the dogs? But it makes sense now that someone says it, because, like, you can see it, it's like the canine head, and then, like, these are the jackals. Cool. Just work our way. You'll see the Insect Queen will die very, very fast as well with this. It's gonna be a good time. If you don't want to run Ward and you just want to play like mono blood swords as your only summon, obviously change the belt for a duration belt or like any other belt. And then go Winter if you don't want to also play more. Winter would give you access to Path of Frost movement speed, but also will give you access to Icebound. We are not taking this. I refuse to take Legends. It should not be offering us Legends, because we only have like a 3, well, actually like a 2%, if that, chance to actually get a Legend offered. Do this. Board was hitting for 41k. I don't know if anyone saw that. Our shrine game has not been that good in this run. I'm not gonna lie. We have not prioritized many shrines, and the ones that we have got haven't really done much for us. This one's very, very good. This one's very good. Didn't realize I took this. I was meant to actually take the health option. Life is fine, but like nothing else really helps us. Like just to banish. Head down this way. Cool. Move towards the pillar for that. And she's dead. Yeah, when she does the... I don't know why I'm gesturing my hands. You guys can't see my hands, but I just want you guys to know that every time I'm explaining something, I am literally doing it with my hands, trying to show. But yeah, when she does the arrows and like the homing shots, if you dash towards a pillar and they're coming from behind you, they'll just collide with the pillar. So it's against the bosses in Death Must Die. Generally, having a pillar around is very, very good. This is not good. Hold on to that. It's generally good to be trying to fight bosses around pillars. We're gonna say cooldown reduction so we can get more natural occurrences of Summoner as well. But also for the Divine Shield. With this. Is this the attack speed shrine? This is. I'm not actually going to take attack speed. We're gonna take life on hit, because we don't have any regen in our build at all. We don't have life on kill either. So having a little bit of life on hit to heal back any of the poke we do take during early archers is going to be very, very nice. We might even take it another one if it gets offered again, and even like life on kill if it's offered. But other than that, we are going to take attack speed and all that good stuff. Just having some sort of access to regen is definitely appreciated. And if you wanted to run legendaries in this, obviously you could just aim for Inner Peace as well. And Vampirism. Well, Vampirism instead, really, because you should be taking more. Force. Okay, cool. Now we can't get any legendary offers because we have everything from times 4. Like that. Obviously, Gem High is still in times 4, but there's no normal blessing for it to roll over the top of, so it won't be offered to us. That's pretty bad. What's this? Cool. Look at them go, dude. Good old Bullet Bill. We'll take Divine Shield again. Just going to avoid taking everything that's not that. I mean, Reducer Guard area is actually fine. The swords don't have an area. Arrows do have an area, but it's like non-existent anyway. It's not really that big of an impact. It's just free damage. Sure, I'll take a Magnet. Should actually get a lot of experience with a Magnet. Save this for in case we actually need it. These are the moments that I was worried about, and this is why we like having the Immobilize from the talent tree. Because if it procs and immobilizes any of the Copper Bombers, they'll die within seconds to a sword. We seem to have got lucky and didn't get any Elemental Archers though. Our last level of Warpack, that's pretty huge. Yeah, if a god, so a god has 2 types of blessings. Like if you think about it in this way, they have normal blessings, which will be things like these. Like these blessings are all considered normal blessings. And then you have legendary blessings. For a legendary blessing to be able to appear, it has to have a normal blessing in the pool for it to be able to replace when you roll. So if you have at least one blessing, doesn't matter if it's a novice, doesn't matter if it's a expert, it doesn't matter. It has to be anything in the tree in a normal blessing that could be touched in some way, so you could either level it up, or you could either rarity it up, or you could just take it as a new blessing. It has to be there in some way, and then your master and legend percent will roll, even if it's like this, and it's like an expert or a novice, it will still roll your master and legend offer, and then it will just replace that. Whatever it succeeds on, it will just replace that with the legendary offer. But if you have nothing in the pool, so you have no normal blessing available in the pool, you will never see the legendary get offered. So it's an easy way to kind of like know if you can or can't get a legendary from a god, is if you know you've still got stuff left in that pool. That's why you see me banishing a lot of stuff from gods and then taking the stuff I want, because that way when I'm done taking all the stuff I want from them, I'm never going to see their legendaries. Where are all my swords? Why have we only got a few of them? We should have a lot more on our screen right now. Dodge these. Good. This is why we like the recharge speed in the talent tree for moments like these. This guy's just stuck. Could technically just put on a different belt. See what that curing belt is in a second. I know that's the heal one, level up one, but we'll dodge that though. Oh god, archers. Alright, so that's a pretty nasty overlap of stuff to get. Luckily, they're not the fast attacking archers. Like the fast projectile archers. There's some very, very fast projectile archers and ones that shoot a lot of projectiles at once. Those are the nastier ones to get. Luckily, these ones are pretty easy to deal with just by shooting your volley of arrows in their direction. But there's like the burning ones which shoot extremely fast that are pretty much a pain in the ass to deal with, and you're at the mercy of your summons at that point. Okay, we have to be careful of this, so take, dash, dash. Watch out, this is why we saved that well. We could heal back 50%. We have to remember it's going to heal us for full, but because of the modifier, it's actually only going to heal us for 50%. So if we drop below 50%, we'll basically just take it, because it's not going to give us the full value anyway. Okay, caustic bombers are just as bad as everything else, and... okay, turbo laser cats at the same time? Jeez Louise. I call them turbo just because their beam ticks much faster when they're like this. Cool. We will take... honestly, we'll take 1 point of purification, just so when they apply their rupture, there's a chance that it'll stun the target as well. That'll be pretty handy against the Jinn. Need to stop moving in a singular direction like that. That will get me killed because of the caustic bombs. Save the dash for emergencies. Honestly surprised our life on hit's not ticking more. Okay. Where is he? Avoid him. There's the fire beam. We'll just go over here for now. Alright, go get him, swords. Where'd he go? No, he's despawning my swords. Get him. Get him. There we go. Oh, 4 of these to deal with. Cool. There we go. So we have a bunch of swords. We are going to drop this because we have better. We're going to drop this because we have better. We have better. And that. And then we'll just go over here. We want to see this, this. It's not that good. That's actually pretty bad. That's really good. We're going to hold on to that. That's pretty bad. That's really bad. That's really bad. Cool. Anyway, this has been Bloodsword Lorien. Final stats. 1.7k summon damage. It could have been around 2k or 2.2k, I should say, if we had influence still. Summoner has triggered that many times. This is how good Flash of Inspiration is. Final values on the Bloodsword is 20,000 to 28,000 per hit, plus then Warpact on top, so it's actually around 40k per hit. Oh, actually, it's around 43k per hit. Gemini, of course, so we got Piety. Like, this stuff doesn't really matter. Like, Gemini does matter, but this stuff is just kind of optional. This will take anytime it's adept or higher. Divine Shield for some safety. Movement speed from Celestial Wings. Warped attack just for the bounces. And proc frequency, force, just so we don't have to chase all of our experience, and purification for the off chance that we might CC something. Now, for the final values at the end screen, please show the Bloodsword for once. Don't bug out. Thank you. Bloodsword Lorien, 29 million damage. It's not the craziest damage values in the world. Like, you can see Warped and Force was doing a lot, but again, you have to take into consideration how frequent you are hitting with Force and Warped. They are going to have inflated values in comparison to Bloodsword, who has to chase the target, get to it, and then hit it before the arrow does to get like a lot of value. But you can see it on the boss's health bars. The moment they connect, they just melt them. It's beautiful. It's a fun little summer build. It's a different way of playing it. We'll go over the talents and the gear again at the end, even though we did at the start, just in case people need to see it. We have dodge chance for some safety, and so we can progress the tree. Tutelage, so we can force levels into what we want to actually level up. We've got dice for controlling the god offers. We've got experience to pull area to be able to pull the shards in for further, so we don't have to get as close and put ourselves in harm's way. Attack speed, which is very, very important, and a little bit of cooldown reduction for our good friend Summoner. 1 pierce, just so we can progress the tree, but also for the reasons that I mentioned earlier with enchanted arrows, so we can have more bounces occurring and have more opportunities to trigger our Flash of Inspiration, which is going to be proccing our Summoner over and over and over again for us, giving us that insane value that you saw. 2 points here. We have 1 in Ranger's Mark, just have a chance to apply Mark, giving us 30% more damage for our summons, as well as having a chance to immobilize marked targets by 4%. So they stop moving, and as you saw with the carpet bombers, when that does proc, it's very, very clutch. It helps them catch the carpet bombers and just destroy them in a second. Movement speed so we can move faster, and some recharge speed just so we can keep out of harm's way. Going over to, and rain of arrows for faster attack speed as well. Going over to the gear, it's just some basic stuff. We got faster offers, meh. Experience gain is pretty nice. The alteration dice are pretty good, but this is mostly here for the summon damage and duration. Big summon damage on the relic. Big summon damage on the amulet. Attack speed on the bow so we can proc Flash of Inspiration more frequently. Triple dice on the chest piece. Summon duration on the jewel. This doesn't have to be summon duration. I have one that has summon damage. I should have had that on instead, but I wanted the experience per second. Level up offers kind of clutch in this, just for the way that we're utilizing it. Summon damage, summon attack speed, and summon duration. The summon attack speed is nice if we had Necromancy, but we didn't get it in this run. We would replace Justice with Mort for that, and we would have Necromancy plus Influence on top, which is even more damage and even better. Summon movement speed is crucial. If you don't have summon movement speed on your boots, it'll be very hard to make this work at D100, but it will still work in stuff like probably the D60s and lower. Just don't turn enemy movement speed up as high. Summon damage and summon attack speed on the gloves. Also very nice if you had Necromancy, but this is mostly here for the summon damage in this version that we had. Summon slots so we can get Necromancy, but we got kind of fucked out of finding it. Otherwise, just use any other belt. Bearer's belt's a good consideration, so we don't have to go to other stuff either. Something like Waste is pretty good if you're going to be going for Legends, because then you can take stuff like Vampirism and offset Waste as well. And yeah, that's it. It's very, very good. I like this build. It's very fun to play. It's a new way of playing Lorien, other than just sickles and strikes related stuff. It's not Whistling Arrow either, really. So you're not just using attack damage gear. It's an actual way of playing a summon Lorien build. And it's a new way to show off how to utilize the new Bloodsword. You can do something similar with Nixie with Shadow Shift. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.